I think the most prominent word here is nascency. It's still a nascent market and it's still evolving. We need to look at maybe small to medium scale projects for now that can be achieved through the current abilities of manufacturers, of supply chain and of logistics, and then find the right offtake with the right prices that help us demonstrate that green hydrogen projects are economically viable and technically feasible.
I think the key word is resilient. In very adverse environments, inflation, interest rates, geopolitics, raise of cost, but still growing numbers of projects, growing FID, growing size of the project, so very strong and resilient. The current downturn in the hype and the way projects are continuing to grow is a sign that it's there to stay for real.
We've seen a lot of commercialization from production all the way through to end use, and definitely heartened by the fact that we're seeing more on the demand side recently. I think we've also moved ahead toward practicality and pragmatism in terms of the types of hydrogen being used, meaning we don't just have to have green hydrogen infrastructure, but rather multiple different applications across the spectrum. We've seen a lot of adoption of national hydrogen strategies across the governments, and I think that's a positive for the public and private sector.
First, we see a significant implementation of policies. In Europe, it's there, and it's there to stay and to be deployed. In the US, we're waiting the IRA to be enacted, but it's ready to be gone. And Japan and Korea have launched a significant tender for co-firing clean energy. Australia, Middle East, all countries are moving in policies. That's the first thing. Second, the size of the project is growing. We moved out of very small projects which have no economic significance. We've moved away also for two large projects, and we are now in the right shape, moving from tens to hundreds of megawatts with clear dates to start between now and the end of the decade. And third, we have seen a couple of projects reaching multilateral debt financing, so gathering of pools of banks, which means that the bankability is coming. So that's a very significant shift. Just the numbers of investment we've done is a milestone. We've created this hydrogen fund 2 years ago of 2 billion, and we've managed already over 2 years to deploy 30% of it and commit 40% of it. And out of those 30%, 80% is basically on projects or companies which have reached FID or up and running. One of the most significant being, of course, the I-SETCO fleet in Paris or the H2 Green Steel project.
We've continued to increase the size of our hydrogen liquefaction offering. So we started with 15 tons per day, 30 tons per day, and now we're in the hundreds of tons per day. In addition to that, we've been able to commercialize our liquid hydrogen onboard vehicle tank, which is the result of multiple years of work in conjunction with partners on the fuel cell side. One
major achievement would be at Abu Dhabi Inc. rather than Masdar, because we are part of the bigger system. And that was in COP28 in Dubai, when Abu Dhabi announced the launch of the Abu Dhabi low carbon hydrogen policy on behalf of the exclusive Abu Dhabi players that help set the right scene, the right mechanism, the right objectives and goals, and the right support mechanism to help incentivize and accelerate the green hydrogen economy in Abu Dhabi, the UAE, and then to the world.